Welcome back, everyone. My name is Professor Eric Bell. I am here again with Chef Tim Bucci, doing some wine and food pairing techniques with you this afternoon. Just to give you a little quick history about Chef Bucci and myself, we actually worked together back in the early 2000s at Le Cordon Bleu in Chicago. Yeah. Chef Bucci was running the kitchen there, teaching the students in the student-run restaurant, and then they hired me to come in and teach the service classes and run the front of the house at the restaurant. So it's interesting that 20 years later, we're doing the same thing in little Joliet, Illinois. Kind of interesting. So here at Joliet Junior College, guys, we offer a 2 to 2.5 year program where graduates would receive an associate's degree in culinary arts management. So this is actually our second class that we're doing, wine and food pairing class. We're going to do a few more over the next couple of weeks together and teaching you different techniques and using different varietals and different types of foods that we'll be cooking. And so, Chef, really quickly, just to answer some questions up front. The stuff that you're going to be doing today, cooking, these are things that the students would actually learn here at the school?
Yes. Yeah, we're doing a simple dish to really kind of try to highlight the wine. We're going to do some roasted chicken wings. We have a fabrication class, so a lot of the proteins that get fabricated in our student fabrication class will get used and sent to different kitchens to utilize. So a lot of this the students would have fabricated, and then they could see kind of like where it's being used. So there's a little bit more satisfaction when it comes to that, instead of just buying chicken wings and opening up a bag.
Right.
So
what's that like the first time a student picks up a knife and grabs the chicken and has to break it down?
Well, trying to catch the live chicken, it's pretty, we don't do any live fabrications, no slaughtering here. Some of their faces kind of turn a little white, once they start kind of cutting into the bird, they start to loosen up and they're not as stressed, because for some it's like their first time.
Sure.
Cutting into a piece of like a whole chicken.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty funny.
And so then I'm teaching actually the classes that would be the food and wine pairing classes here at the school, and we have a class called Flavor Pairing Dynamics, where initially we kind of teach the students how to do the food and wine pairing, where we're telling them what wines to use and what recipes to use, and then eventually as the class progresses, the students get much better with it, and they start to create their own recipes and order their own food, and then figure out what varietals and what wines they want to pair with that. And then we'll go into kitchens and we'll actually cook food, and then we'll all sit down together with the different foods that we've created, and then taste the wines and really kind of analyze and just kind of do what we call a justification of the wine and food pairing. So we'll do that today. We're going to cook this food. We're going to taste this wine. We're going to kind of see how we did in terms of the wine and food pairing, to see if we did a good job, and maybe some things we would maybe change with that if we thought maybe we would change the wine or maybe change some of the ingredients in the food. So this is our demo kitchen. We have here, this is a $58 million facility at the City Center campus. We have 11 state-of-the-art kitchens, 2 student-run restaurants. Chef Bucci, I mentioned earlier, Chef Bucci and I run the restaurant downstairs, Thrive. And we're actually open to the public. You can come in and have lunch with us on Wednesdays from 11 to 12:30. And then we also do dinner this semester on Thursday evenings from 6 to 7:30. The phone number to call to make reservations, it's really important that you do that. We're very busy, 815-280-1201. And then we have a second student-run restaurant up on the second floor called Savour, and that restaurant is actually open for lunch on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 12:30. So this wine that we're tasting today is a wine from Moselle, Germany. It's called Beck's Riesling. It's a 2018. Comes from the Moselle region. In Moselle, we find that the ground is kind of like slate. And so many times when we smell Rieslings from Moselle region, we get this really kind of mineral, petrol, almost gasoline rubber band smell to them. You don't taste that, but it's kind of a way for us to tell that that's where it came from. It is a little off-putting when you first do it the first time, but we can then determine that that's where it comes from. But there's beautiful, floral and citrus aromas, honey and apples and things like that. And then the taste for this particular one, white peach, apricots, a little bit of mandarin orange. This one's going to be a little bigger in body. So we talked about body of wine, body of food, how important that is. We would say that this is closer to a medium body wine, about 2%. It feels like 2% milk in your mouth, right? Medium acid. A lot of times with Rieslings, you can't taste the acid like that first wine we did, the Sauvignon Blanc was super acidic, right? So this one you can't taste it, but what happens is inside your mouth, once you swallow it, you'll feel like your mouth start to water. And that's telling me that there's some acid there to support some of the residual sugar that potentially would be there. A little minerally, lots of really beautiful citrus here. And so let's take a little taste, Chef, and see what we kind of think of this Beck's Riesling. This is 2018. 11.5% alcohol here. So again, I can just look at this one. This definitely, from a body perspective, just looks like it has more body than the first wine. Tells me probably some sugar in it, a little bit of residual sugar, right? A little bit more mouthfeel. And then right off the bat, smell the rubber band. It smells like rubber bands. And so like that petrol, it's kind of a normal sort of.
For some people that like the smell of rubber bands, it might be.
It doesn't taste like that. Don't get us wrong. It definitely has that little bit of that smell to it. So, but definitely some beautiful apples and honey, a little bit of citrus smell here.
It's very good. And for the price, very, very delicious.
Yeah, and so really beautiful sugar, apples, right? You can get this one at Binny's also, guys, for about $9 a bottle. And you feel your mouth kind of watering inside there. But there's definitely some really nice sugar there to kind of balance that acid out. It's really, really beautiful. So a little bigger though, right? The body in this one's got a little bit more body to it than the other one. So we're going to be able to do some things to this dish that we're going to cook here, guys, and so that we can actually add a little bit more body to the food, because really scallops, which we did the first time, are really light-bodied food. Chicken really is a light-bodied food too, right?
Yeah.
And so we can do cooking methods. We can do other things to this dish. Add some ingredients to kind of build the body up to kind of match the body of this particular wine. So tell us about what we're cooking today, Chef.
All right, so we are doing roasted chicken wings with a honey chili garlic glaze. So we're using a little bit of chili garlic sauce. I'm using a little bit of extra garlic, a little bit of honey, some cider vinegar or rice vinegar, whichever one you might have. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our wings roasting in the oven. Now, what I'm doing here, I'm using a saute pan to cook my wings in the oven. You could use a sheet pan, a cookie sheet, a baking dish, whatever. The first thing I'm doing before I put my wings in this pan, I'm going to heat up my pan. Now, I know this is a saute pan. If I was going to do this on a sheet pan or a cookie sheet, I would put my sheet pan in the oven and preheat that. So if I'm roasting vegetables, potatoes especially, because they take so long and there's a kind of a lot of water in them, heat up your pan, get it nice and hot. Careful when you take it out. A little oil, or toss your product in oil. Once you put it right on your pan, it's going to start sizzling. Then you go ahead and put it back in the oven, because then what happens is the pan doesn't need to heat up and then start heating the vegetables.
Right.
What happens if you don't, water starts coming out, your product sticks.
Right.
Okay, so I'm heating up my pan so that my wings are not going to stick in the oven. Again, same thing you would want to do if you're doing a sheet pan, just heat it up in the oven. What I'm doing with my wings, I have some chicken wings, some drumettes, and some paddles, and I'm going to season these with a little bit of salt and some black pepper. Now, one of the things I'm going to add to this is baking powder. Okay?
Baking powder.
Baking powder. It's going to make the wings rise a little, almost double. No, what the baking powder is going to do, it's going to change the pH of the skin, and it's going to help to render more of that fat from the skin. Okay. Now
I know sometimes I cook at home and I cook chicken with like the skin, and it doesn't seem to render all the way. So this will help me with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you could let this sit for 30 minutes before you cook it. We're going to go ahead and start cooking them right away. And you don't want to use baking soda, because that's too strong. You'll taste it. You'll taste that sodium bicarbonate. So a little bit of oil. And then we're just going to, gently put our wings in our pan.
So that pan was already on. You got the pan hot, then you added the oil to the pan.
It was already preheated. Always preheat your pan, then add your oil. Make sure it's hot enough. And then we're going to go ahead and put these in the oven. Okay? Now, that already starts that kind of browning process.
And you notice that chef, in this case, is actually, again, using a saute method, which really isn't really adding a lot of body to the wing. Even though he's putting it into the oven and roasting it in the oven, it's really not doing too much. Normally, like you would go to a smokehouse or a barbecue place, and they would use some kind of smoking technique. And we joke about this all the time because Chef Bucci loves smoke.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not a real big smoke fan. And so, but that would definitely be something you could do to add some body to this particular dish. We're going to add some ingredients to it, though, to give it some more body. In this case, the cooking method didn't do too much in terms of adding body to the dish.
So you could see that color and this really nice crispy skin. That's partly because we heated up our pan ahead of time and also tossed it with baking powder.
And so temperature in the oven, Chef?
425, high heat. So, we'll teach different cooking methods, right? We'll teach roasting. And there's different methods of roasting. There's low temperature roasting for turkeys and prime rib. There is high temperature roasting for small chicken wings or certain vegetables. There's also searing method of roasting where you could sear something at a very high temperature in the oven at like say 425, 475, 20 minutes, drop it down, and then let it finish up slowly. So that's another method of roasting. There's 3 methods. So what we're going to do now, we're going to make our glaze. So I have some chili garlic sauce. You could use sriracha. And I'm using about 2 teaspoons. If you want, you can kind of cut that down to 1. Using some honey. And what I'm doing with the honey, I just made like a little honey sack here. Pop a little hole. And then you're not trying to scrape the honey out of your container. And then we're going to add some garlic. This is just some minced garlic. Yep.
And so you can see Chef is adding these spicy ingredients, sweet ingredients, and we're really, again, trying to get to the point where we're matching the body of this wine, which is kind of a medium-bodied wine, with the ingredients that we're putting into the chicken.
Yep.
Right?
So now I have my glaze. I'm just going to kind of pour this over my chicken wings. We're going to put these back in the oven for a few minutes, just to kind of let that wing really get nice and glazy and let that kind of really coat these wings. Okay.
And then initially you said 425 on the temp. How long?
425. It depends on the oven. Mm-hmm. You're looking at probably 20 to 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. You want to get it nice and brown, really crispy. You don't want to overcook them.
Correct.
But maybe 25 and then toss it with your glaze. But what you're looking for is that really beautiful color. So every oven is a little bit different. Okay, this is a convection. It has a fan. You might just have a regular oven. You could even up that temperature to 450 if you don't have an oven with a fan, a convection oven. So you get a little bit more heat there. Now, what we're going to do, we have this kind of sweet, spicy dish going on, or this wing. We're going to make just a quick slaw to go with this. I have some cider vinegar, olive oil, sugar, and I have some thinly sliced shallots. I like shallots. They're a little bit more milder. You can also use some red onion. You can omit the onion. I'm going to add that to this mixture and just let those shallots just kind of soften a little bit. And we're going to add our salt, pepper to this. This is kind of like, maybe you would call it like a vinegar slaw. And I just want to stir that around.
I think most people would actually cook the shallots. They would just add the shallot raw.
Yeah, I just like to soften them up a little bit.
Gotcha.
If I don't do that, I will rinse. So if I do raw onions for anything, a salsa, salad, relish,
right,
I'll always cut my onions and then rinse them to take some of that harshness out. And then we'll toss in our cabbage. If you wanted to, you could put in a little bit of grated carrots or a little bit of red cabbage just to give it some color if you want. This is just something very simple to kind of eat with the wings. Okay.
So again, when we're talking about this pairing aspect here, guys, right, we're getting into that second principle of contrasting and comparing things. And so we talk a lot about this, the idea of the saltiness and the sweetness. Those are just beautiful combinations of structural components. I think of like peanut butter and jelly is such a good combination, right? So those two things that are going on here, the sweetness of the wine and the really salty, spicy and salty and sweet stuff go really, really well together from a contrasting perspective. We've got some good acid in this wine and some honey sweetness in the chicken wings that are going to kind of sort of balance each other out a little bit. And then we got that spicy and the sweet and the salty that go really well together. A lot of acid in the wine. We added this a little bit of slaw here to kind of do a comparing component there. So we have some acid in the slaw and then acid in the wine to really sort of brighten the dish up a little bit. And then I get a really good taste of honey in the wine when I taste the wine. And then Chef put a little bit of honey in the barbecue wings. I'm doing a little bit of what we call bridging of flavor components. So as we were talking about this, Chef and I were talking about this, we were trying to really come up with ways that would really enhance the wine and the food together, so that we put dishes together that make sense. Now, we didn't taste it before with the wine, so we'll kind of talk about that after we actually finish and taste everything.
Yeah. So the one thing I really want to show you is these wings that I just pulled out of the oven. None of them stuck, okay? Beautiful color starting to get on the bottom. Nothing stuck. You can go in there and turn them. And that's why you always heat up your pan, sheet pan, saute pan, and then your product, you're not scraping the skin off and you're losing all the flavor of that wing.
And that's from you actually getting the pan hot first,
yeah,
putting the chicken wings in, or getting the pan hot in the oven first. And
exactly. When I do roasted potatoes, I'll get my potatoes, toss in oil, salt, pepper, get my pan hot in the oven. Mm-hmm. They'll start sizzling when I pour them in there. And then the nice thing, give them a stir every 10, 15 minutes. They don't stick, and you get a really crispy potato, and you don't lose the crust. That's the best part, right? So we have our slaw. You could see that, if you let this sit, you can eat it now, but if you let it sit maybe about 15, 20 minutes, you can even make it the day before, just to kind of bring those flavors, let that cabbage kind of break down a little bit. I still want some really beautiful crunch here with this slaw.
And that's pretty standard. You go to a barbecue restaurant, they're giving you some kind of
slaw, creamy, like vinegar, something to break up some of this richness and sweetness. And then we have our wings. Beautiful, really nice glaze, beautiful color. From the roasting methods, very simple. It's not a complicated technique. You just have to follow certain principles of cooking, and that's one of the things that we really reinforce here is that solid cooking technique. That's what's going to carry you further in this industry is good cooking techniques. Simple cooking, good food tastes good, right? Now, if you have a little bit of glaze, you can take a tiny bit of water and just kind of stir that. Yeah, just really good cooking, and that's what's going to make you successful is your solid foundations, and then we could just get a little bit of that right over it. You're going to need to use some mouthwash after this, huh? This is going to be good. And my guess is a little spicy too from the chili. A little bit. Yeah. Which will go nice because the wine definitely has some sweetness to it. Yeah, which is going to help. So let me pour a little bit more in here for you, Chef. Yeah, don't hold back. Okay, so once again, we're going to do the same thing we did last week. We're going to kind of smell. We want to get that wine into our mouth, kind of cleanse our palate off a little bit. And then again, we want to take a little taste of the food and then take another drink of the wine. I want to pick it up with my fingers, but... And so internal temperature on chicken, Chef? 165. If you pull it out of the oven at like 160, you're going to have that carryover cooking to take it over. Right. Depending on the size. So really crispy. Not too spicy. Garlic's a little beautiful. Bit. It's got get you a little bit at the end, yeah. Oh yeah, so right off the bat, that sweet wine, spicy, salty chicken wing. And it almost like just makes it ready for the next bite.
It does. Cleanse your
So you're
palate.
not,
Yep, I agree.
you're just eating and eating, and things are coating your tongue, and you can't taste food as much. But this is really good with the wings.
Yeah, so that's important for us from a wine and food pairing, is that idea of cleansing your palate. Sometimes, you know, like I felt like the scallop and the Sauvignon Blanc last week was really like a really perfect pairing. This one's really good, but it's definitely doing what we want it to do. We definitely want it to kind of cleanse our palate and get us ready for the next bite. That acid in the slaw and the acid really just kind of come together, just a good comparing component there, where it's really making it really, really beautiful and acidic and bright for us. So, you know, we have options for you here. We have classes that are available for you to take. Students that come to school here, they will graduate and they'll go out and work in a lot of different aspects of the industry. You know, we can place you in restaurants, hotels, have food and beverage services, banquet facilities, cruise ships, bakeries. We have a lot of students going into scientific sort of food cooking thought process, where they're creating recipes, educational feeding. So Chef and I worked in the industry for a really long time, and then for both of us over the last 20 years or so, we've both been kind of teaching at the university level, college level, but certainly in high schools you can do that. We really have a super high demand for people that graduate, even the students that are here taking classes. We get calls regularly asking us if we have any students that are available. These restaurants are really looking for high quality individuals to come in, so certainly finding a job will never be difficult for you. We do have scholarships available for you. And again, just remember, we're here in Thrive Restaurant Wednesdays for lunch from 11 to 12:30. You can come in this semester for dinner on Thursdays from 6 to 7:30. It's a really good idea to make a reservation. Give us a call at 815-280-1201. If you're interested in taking classes with us here at JJC, you can call 815-280-1201, or you can send an email to drandall, that's DRANDALL @jjc.edu, and someone will answer the phone for you and set up an appointment with one of our advisors for you. So next session, we're going to be cooking with a wine from California called Buena Vista. Buena Vista is actually one of the oldest wineries in California. It'll be a Chardonnay from the north coast of California. So again, we want to thank you very much for coming in. Thanks for coming in and cooking with me today, Chef. The food was delicious. Great job. And we'll save a seat for you here, whether you want to come and visit us in the restaurants or you want to come and take some classes with us here at JJC. Thanks again.
Have a good day.